Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com. Welcome to This Week in Prophecy. This week we have Biden diplomacy, a little foreign diplomacy from our president. We're going to introduce Mark Robinson to those of you who are not familiar. We're going to close with shrimp. Okay. Scripture reference Judges 16, verse 1. Now, Samson went to Gaza and saw a prostitute there and had relations with her. So, just a reminder, history tells us Samson had a little thing there for Philistine women, did not end well with him. And to this day, Israel continues to have difficulties in this part of the world. So, modern day Gaza, same as Gaza back in the days of Samson, Philistines, same place, same issues. And, for Samson's part, he, the prophecy around that is he would be the one that would begin to end the Philistine rule over the Israelis or the Jews at that time. And he did when he, got his eyes gouged out and then took some pillars out and killed thousands of people. One last hurrah of strength. So still having issues with this place, 2,000 plus, close to 3,000 plus years now. Here's the latest from War Mapper. Gaza map update. Israel is currently constructing a new road and security zone spanning the width of the Gaza Strip. That's up here. From east to west, just south of Gaza City. And this follows the path taken by IDF forces during the early stages of the conflict, which divided the Gaza Strip in half. So the IDF has also extended its operations northward from Khan Yunis towards the coast, and that would be this area right here is what is being discussed. Actually, kind of north and west. North would be this way. And a minor expansion has been made just north of Wadi Gaza along the edge of the area being cleared for the road. So, the big thing now is down here in the south in Rafah. Israel says, Netanyahu says they're going to finish Hamas. An invasion of Rafah is looming. Now, President Biden, for his part, is pushing for a ceasefire to start before the holy month of Ramadan begins on Sunday, March 10th. So the sunset and Ramadan has begun in the Middle East. Now, after the State of the Union show from the other evening, President Biden made the comment, I told him, Bibi, now don't repeat this, you and I are going to have a come to Jesus meeting. And a handler had to remind him, sir, you're on a hot mic. We have that moment captured below, but I love Merriam-Webster. Come to Jesus meeting, a moment of sudden realization, comprehension, or recognition that often precipitates a major change. And you just take a look at the situation. So you got a demented Gentile man. He's going to pressure a Jewish man with all his faculties, who happens to be the leader of Israel, and change his mind about the security of the Jewish people. And Biden's going to lead with Jesus. Oh, that's great. So, which just goes to show even God can use Joe Biden to tell his chosen people about his son Jesus. So, not necessarily in the context we may think of it, but they are reminded of Jesus, their son. Here's how this went down. I don't think we're going to have the. I think I'm drawing a blank. That guy's a Republican. He's doing the talking right now, I believe. From Ohio. Name's escaping me. I'm sure plenty of you out there know who that is. Watch the handler right over here. He's going to step in. Joe, easy there, buddy. You're on a hot mic. Doesn't remember. Hey, yeah, like he's gonna convince anybody. There's Blinken. Okay, great. Buttigieg there, transportation secretary. Jordan, James Jordan. I think that's James Jordan. Just came to me, Republican. I think. Anyhow, any confidence Joe's going to convince BB to have a ceasefire before Ramadan? I'm sure they're still. I haven't bothered to look, but I've not seen anything suggesting that Israel has stopped firing. I mean, they're going to finish the job. That's what they said they're going to do. So, with that, we're going to transition. Joshua 1, verse 9. Have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And at this point, would like to introduce people to Mark Robinson. And for those of you who are not familiar, he is going to be the Republican nominee for governor of North Carolina. Won every county in North Carolina. We do have some comments from Mr. Robinson below. Encourage everybody, do your homework. He's going to say controversial things. The media is going to cut, paste, and edit his comments to make him look like a crazy right winger. Some left wing media is refusing to show pictures of him and just the content of what he said. And that'd be MSNBC, and little Rachel Maddow did that the other night. She took some of his comments out of context, refused to show a picture of him. And the bottom line is mainstream media is terrified of an African American who stands strong on Christ, and we need to pray for this guy. Here's some of his quotes. I'm not even going to begin to do justice. His delivery, he packs some punch when he tells people about it, and he's got a little flair about him. Some of his comments include, it's time for grown-ups and it's time for Christians to start standing up and stop being afraid to tell the truth. On biology, ain't but two genders, ain't nothing but men and women. You can't transcend God's creation. On education, 2 plus 2 don't equal transgender. And he tells people we need to get back to teaching them, that'd be kids, how to read instead of teaching them how to go to hell. So here's a little taste of him. This is a 2-minute clip in length here. Let's get this up and running. 2 genders. He's holding court. 2 genders, just men and women. That's right. But you kind of get the flavor. It's worth watching. I've seen some of his other stuff. He is not going to back down, and he is not afraid. Making fun of the press. WRAL. It's out of Raleigh. It's going to give him a hard time for the content of what he's saying. So, but in all seriousness, this man is pro Jesus, and he is going to take whatever the issue is straight to the heart of the matter. On biology, on education, and the press, they are going to get after this guy in a major way. Pray for his safety and do your homework. Listen to what he says. You may not like it. If you don't, that's fine. But don't let somebody else tell you what to think about him. So, well, then we're going to transition to Hosea 4, verses 1 through 3. Hear the word of the Lord, O children of Israel. So the context here is to Israel. And what we're going to talk about is off the coast of Yemen. So this is not the fulfillment of Hosea's prophecy here. For the Lord has a case against the people of the land. That'd be the people, so Israel. There is no truth, no loving devotion, no knowledge of God in the land. Cursing and lying, murder and stealing and adultery are rampant. One act of bloodshed follows another. Therefore the land mourns, and all who dwell in it will waste away with the beasts of the field and the birds of the air. Even the fish of the sea will disappear. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but what happened off the coast of Yemen is not the fulfillment of the Hosea prophecy, but this is coming at some point in the future. Revelation talks about this as well. A significant sea extinction event. Lots of sea life will take the hit during the tribulation. But we do want to take a look at the conditions stated and the context of the culture prior to this judgment being fulfilled. And does it sound familiar? And I think it should be a wake up call. No truth. Well, we're trying to eliminate truth. I can't speak to what's going on in Israel, but I know here in the United States we're trying to eliminate truth. Not a lot of love going on right now. No knowledge of God in the land. We're kicking God out of every institution in this country as fast as we can and going to modern Western culture and reasoning, humanism. Plenty of cursing and lying. And I think cursing, it's like we are cursing people. I always take that more about I'm going to levy a curse on you or put a curse on you, not necessarily the act of foul language. Not that foul language is okay, but I get the sense what cursing is and what God sees as foul language are probably a little more different than human standards. Biggest one would be probably taking the Lord's name in vain, but I digress. Murder. We got lots of murder going on around here. We steal stuff here in this culture. And adultery are rampant. One act of bloodshed follows another. So does that sound like our culture? Is that what's going on in Israel? I don't know the answer to what's going on in Israel, but we have plenty of those things taking place here. And then one of the consequences of that, the creation groans. Plant life, animal life, sea life, birds. Our creation is dying because of our activity. And that's what happened with the flood. And it's all going to get burnt up at some point in the future. So, yes, we impact the environment. And we're supposed to be stewards of the environment. And, here's an example of that. And these dead shrimp off the coast of Yemen are the result of human activity. Millions of shrimp died off the coast of Yemen. According to information, the images are from Hadramaut. Disaster occurred when the British ship sank. And now the British say the Houthis, or the Houthis, or as I say it, I don't know what the correct is, but if I had an English accent, I would say the Houthis. The ship was loaded with tons of toxic materials. That would be fertilizers. And so what was it? 40,000 tons of fertilizer went down with this ship. And as a result, look at all these shrimp just washing ashore. Can you imagine the smell of this? And it's just as far as the eye can see. So it's not like it's isolated to a beach or a small little area on the beach. Crazy. And yes, God can use idiot human behavior to fulfill his will. That's the thing with some of these prophecies. It tells you what's going to happen. It doesn't tell you how. There can be acts of God. I'm not diminishing that, but there are plenty of incidences where, God will use another nation hostile to Israel to execute his judgment on his people Israel, and then hold those folks accountable. They're agreeable to it, and they're still murdering and doing things to his people that aren't acceptable. He's not going to make a believer do something against his will or his law, but there are plenty of people who will be agreeable to, go do harm to the Jews just because they're Jews, and, acts of bloodshed, rape. That's what happened with Hamas. So, is what's behind that? You don't know a lot of times, but God can use human behavior idiot human behavior, in this case, sinking a ship full of fertilizer and oil to create an ecological disaster, which would be a consequence of sin. And in both cases, there are consequences of sin. And the same thing up here with Biden. Now Biden's using a idiom, come to Jesus meeting, but at the same time, he is reminding the nation of Israel of Jesus. Who knows? I just can't see that being received too well. But it is a reminder Jesus is the Son of God. And at some point, they will get it. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. They will look upon him who they pierced, and they will cry, mourn for him as if he was their first child. So it is coming. Doesn't appear to be anytime soon. Well, it might be soon. Who knows? But that's what I got for this week. I was looking back at some of the stuff I'd done several years ago. This is going back 7 years ago. If we would have had one of these events 7 years ago, that's all I would have talked about. And it would have been oh, look at this. We had one event that would be a trend update that indicates we are trending toward the return of Jesus. And I was sitting there talking with my wife about this, and it's like, this seems like a slow week when there were only 3 things, but yet still got war going on, wars and rumors of wars all over the place. It is what it is. And now we have 3 things that we're talking about. It seems like a slow week. I didn't even touch on Russia and Ukraine this week, or Iran. Iran's always doing something. China. Saudis have been quiet. I think that with the Saudis, Trump gets reelected, I think that becomes front and center. We'll have a lot of Saudi talk. May have it before. I wouldn't think so, but time will tell. But anyway, we got Purim coming up into this month. Also, we're going to do some stuff. Those that followed this post and blog for a while got a little fascination with time, and got some interesting observations with the Essenes and how they mark time. And Ken Johnson out of Olathe, Kansas, has done a lot of work with that. Some of his things are interesting as far as what could be coming in the next year or two and how the Essenes mark time. It's a little tease. It's a solar. They mark time as by a solar calendar, whereas the Pharisees, Sadducees do it from primarily a lunar calendar. And there are discrepancies, and so that's the big question. How do you mark time? I don't know. Humanity hadn't figured it out. At any rate, appreciate you guys following along. Please feel free to share with others at PaulthePoke.com. If you're not a follower or subscribe to the blog, type your email address in here, hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time we send something out. So we'll just keep plugging along. So we got Purim coming up, spring feasts coming up, right around the corner. We all know what that means. Things usually pick up. Global events, current events pick up in and around the feasts of the Lord. So get ready. Thanks for following. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.